Welcome back again everyone to the glorious domination sub-series of the chassis variant series. I am Critical Rocket and we are back with the adder, specifically the B variant. Now, the B variant, or configuration as I must say, sorry clanners, is a version that is specifically designed for sniping, which is almost along and almost exactly the same as the Prime configuration, which itself is also very heavily reliant on extreme range weaponry to do a lot of damage quickly. Quite why this version is referred to as a sniping variant may not really mean much to people in the terms of MechWarrior gameplay, but on tabletop it makes sense. The B configuration comes with the flamer in the head, a large pulse laser, a LB5 and 2 ER mediums. Basically, the idea on tabletop was that LB5s had pretty decent range, and the fact that you could switch ammunition from solid shot when you were engaging targets, and then you could switch over to your cluster munitions, meaning once you'd opened up a mech or you encountered a target that had open armor and exposed criticals, you could then start using the LB to try and get some extra, critical rolls, which is always nice. And large pulse lasers are actually a lot more deadly, especially on their own on tabletop, because the damage can be quite high, and you can whack out quite a lot. And then considering again this is only a 35-ton clan light, the amount of weaponry it's bringing is considerable. And it brings to mind other mechs that had an emphasis on a single large laser and making it quite powerful, which is the sad thing about MechWarrior, is that it doesn't really convey the fact that a large laser is a powerful weapon on the battlefield, and a large pulse was even more deadly. At the cost of range and a bit of heat, you did a lot more damage a lot quicker. But to give you an idea, things like the Enforcer, for instance, with its single large laser, was incredible. The Phoenix Hawk with a large laser. Plenty of mechs in the Inner Sphere category. You'll tend to find stock will have one of a particular long-range weapon, because on tabletop that was pretty decent. That was something that you'd have to be aware of because it would make the mech quite deadly. In MechWarrior Online, the single large laser is... yeah, it's alright, but it's not 5 large lasers, and then you just fucking vaporize somebody at 700 to like 800 meters and sort of laugh at their foolishness for walking in front of your blue gaze of death. But no, most people tend to kind of group lasers in MechWarrior Online because of the alpha style gameplay and the fact that you want to hit hard, blow off a component, open up a mech, kill them instantly, whatever you're trying to do. So, yeah, this is a B configuration sniping variant. It doesn't make as much sense in MechWarrior Online. However, this is a variant that comes with 4 energy hardpoints and a single ballistic version. For those of you who wish to have something a bit of a DACA feel to it. It's only the 1 ballistic slot, mind you, so you may want to put a large ballistic weapon in there just to make up for the fact that you're not going to be doing a lot else with it. Maybe a machine gun. Heavy machine gun, I don't know, whatever you fancy doing. Obviously the adders aren't the quickest out there, and I'd never say that you would want to try and chase down other mechs. I always found the adder worked well as a nice support model in MechWarrior Online. It's one of those nasty little things. It sticks around the heavies and the assaults, and when stuff really starts to get quite hairy and both teams are kind of going at it point blank, a lot of players tend to ignore the little light mech that's walking up to them with a fair amount of firepower, and that's exactly what the adder can do in MechWarrior Online. It can walk up and just completely take people by surprise with the fact that it can just dump a lot of damage into you quite quickly, and that's what this one can do. The large pulse and ER mediums working in conjunction are quite useful, and the LB5, a weapon that isn't seen very often on the field these days in MechWarrior Online, is a nice change of pace. I do like LB weaponry, and not many mechs bring it as default. It's quite a shame, really, as I do like the ability of being able to spread my damage across enemies, especially in the mid to late stage of a fight where they may be a bit more opened up. This fight was also quite fun on Tourmaline because it involved a kind of weird split between the two teams, as there was 2 sort of smaller fights going on, and I also like the fact that I think there was a catapult at some point coming after me, and I managed to kind of lure him up to an assault mech, which sort of made him back off, but he didn't get killed instantly, and there was a bit of tension of trying to, dueling back and forth, trying to use the terrain and other allies to our advantage to try and get the kill on one another. I quite enjoyed the fight. It was fun, and I won't lie, it was a bit hairy in places. I was a bit worried. Heat efficiency is very low on the Bravo variant. Even skilled with this weapons loadout, you're probably going to heat up quite quickly. The large pulse is to put it plainly, an oven, The ER mediums are a nice backup, especially if you have something directly in front of you. The LB5 is good, but sadly with Clan Omnitech it means you don't get a hell of a lot of ammunition. Even if you do have the weapon rack skills unlocked, you're still going to be hurting. And again, it comes back to one of those issues with the fact that Omnitech just doesn't allow you the same flexibility as you do with a standard battle mech. And this is why you tend to see more of the clan battle mechs rather than the clan omni-mechs as much, because in certain weight categories, because they just do better. I mean, a Hunchback 2C in the medium category is far more effective in some regards than a Nova in some areas, or a Stormcrow. You know, they have their builds, they are good mechs, but they do have their drawbacks, and sadly that's one of the problems with this. Obviously, that's just me, of course. If you are a customization-minded player, then the Bravo does have a fair amount of options available to you. Of course, one of the first things you'll probably do is take the flamer out of the head, which I always keep that as a little mark of it being an adder, because I always like having that little backup weapon there. It's always fun just to start burning people, especially ones who are quite heat intensive with their builds, like this Marauder 2C for instance, who is now powered down because I overheated him. So that's quite fun, and it allows you to run away and hide and allow other people to shoot them for you. I'm on the fence with the B. I like the fact that it's got the ballistics weapon mount, and I like the fact that it's an LB5, but I can immediately see the drawbacks in it. It's not my favourite of them, so I would probably give this one a miss. I'd pick the Prime, I'd pick the A, I'd probably pick the D, but yeah, maybe not the B. As much fun as this round was, I think it was a mix of two pretty even teams having a good fight, and it really could have swung either way depending on who was in what position first. So it was a good match for that. And yeah, I think it was a decent showcase of the old adders abilities out there. It's just a case of I've noticed this thing, like, some people will swear by a certain mech because they just say they're amazing, and then another player will take them and go, I can't use that, that sucks, or that's shit. And I totally get that. There's probably a lot of people who take adders out and they just can't use them. It's just not a mech that seems to work. Even though you're using the exact same weapons as you might be doing in another 35-ton light, for some reason it just doesn't work out for you. And that seems to be one of the things. I think the adder is one of those mechs for more people than than other lights out there. It may also be unpopular, maybe just because of the weapon placement and stuff. I don't know. I've always found the adder's low slung approach to things quite good, because it allows you to use terrain cover, and since I use the PPC version more often than not, it's usually quite fun to be able to peek and shoot with those. But we're getting up to the end now. This is the last guy on their team, and yeah, it closes out a glorious domination for the adder once again. And I think I got a pretty good damage score at the end. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have a good week, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.